I was 16, sitting in a doctor's office that smells like industrial-strength disinfectant and broken dreams. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead like angry wasps as Dr. Whoever shuffles through my chart with the enthusiasm of someone reading the tax code. It's probably just stress, they say, not looking up. You'll grow out of it. I did not, in fact, grow out of it. This is where our story begins. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. And about 200 million whimpers worldwide, because that's how many women are living with PCOS, most of them getting the same dismissive shoulder shrug from medical professionals who treat women's health complaints like background noise. PCOS isn't just one villain. It's an entire crime syndicate operating inside your body. The Don. Insulin resistance, the smooth-talking boss who convinces your cells to ignore insulin's perfectly reasonable requests. Sits in the shadows, pulling strings, making your pancreas work overtime like an underpaid barista during finals week. Recent research confirms that lifestyle interventions can enhance metabolic health among PCOS patients. But our Don doesn't go down without a fight. The enforcer. Hyperandrogenism. The testosterone-pumped muscle who crashes the estrogen party uninvited, leaves calling cards, acne that looks like a connect-the-dots puzzle, hair growing in places you didn't know hair could grow, and scalp hair disappearing faster than your patience. The saboteur. Ovulatory dysfunction. The chaos agent who makes your periods play hide-and-seek for months, turns your reproductive system into a slot machine. Sometimes you hit the jackpot, ovulation. Sometimes you get 3 lemons and a bankruptcy notice. This isn't just about irregular periods and stubborn weight. The emotional toll reads like a psychological thriller. The identity crisis. When your body feels like a stranger wearing your face. The isolation. Trying to explain why you can't just eat less and exercise more to people who think PCOS is a typo. Wondering if you'll ever feel normal, have kids, or stop Googling PCOS cure at 2 a.m. The gaslighting. Years of being told it's all in your head, when your head is actually the only part working correctly. The kicker. PCOS remains overlooked despite being the most prevalent female endocrinopathy, making our heroines fight not just their condition, but medical dismissal. Just when all hope seems lost, science swoops in like a caffeinated superhero with actual answers. Weight and lifestyle management are first-line therapy in international evidence-based guidelines for PCOS, which translates to your fork is mightier than the sword, and your sneakers are basically magic boots. The wisdom of the ancients, aka nutritional science, rule number 1. Outsmart the sugar mafia. The glycemic index becomes her new best friend. A cheat sheet for foods that won't send her insulin into overdrive. She learns that her body processes a donut like a sugar grenade, while eggs is more like a gentle handshake. The revelation. It's not about perfection, it's about information. Rule number 2. Protein is your wingman. Every meal becomes a buddy system. Carbs never travel alone. Eggs transform from breakfast food to hormone-balancing superheroes. Quinoa stops being that weird grain hippies talk about and becomes the reliable friend who always shows up. Rule number 3. Fat is not the enemy. Avocados go from Instagram props to inflammation-fighting warriors. Omega-3s become her secret weapon. Salmon isn't just dinner, it's therapy you can chew. She discovers that her grandmother's warnings about fat were well-intentioned but scientifically outdated. David versus Goliath, but make it metabolic. The real story isn't about food. It's about reclaiming agency in a body that feels hijacked. Every meal becomes an act of rebellion against a syndrome that's been calling the shots for years. During grocery shopping, I crave sugar. Watch me buy berries instead. You want to make me tired? I'm buying spinach and spite in equal measure. Moving from victim to detective. What makes me feel better or worse? Becoming a data scientist of your own body. Tracking not just weight but energy, mood, sleep. The radical act of self-compassion, treating your body like a beloved pet rather than a broken appliance. Where the real magic happens and it's quieter than expected. Month 1. The changes are subtle, like background music you suddenly notice. Energy that doesn't crash at 3 p.m. Skin that stops looking like a teenager's nightmare. Sleep that actually refreshes instead of just consuming time. Month 2. The body starts to remember what cooperation feels like. Periods that show up when expected, revolutionary. Genes that fit without requiring architectural engineering. Mood swings that don't feel like emotional whiplash. Month 6. The real plot twist. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming yourself, just with better behaved hormones. The scale matters less than the energy. The Mediterranean diet offers a wide variety of foods from all categories, so it is easy to follow as a lifestyle approach rather than a temporary fix. The revelation. Exercise isn't punishment for what you ate. Successfully resisted the office birthday cake. I am become death, destroyer of sugar cravings. The internet research rabbit holes. 3 a.m. Google searches. Can stress cause PCOS? Or does PCOS cause stress? Yes. The discovery that PCOS content is present and pervasive across social media platforms, leading to both helpful information and questionable TikTok remedies. Learning to distinguish between actual medical advice and influencer who took a nutrition course online. The resolution that's actually sustainable. This isn't a story where PCOS disappears in a puff of keto smoke. It's the story where PCOS becomes a roommate you've learned to live with. Annoying sometimes, but manageable with the right boundaries. Morning coffee with a little goat milk instead of sugar, and she actually likes it now. Lunch that includes protein automatically, like breathing. Evening walks that feel like therapy instead of obligation. Sleep schedule that would make her college self weep with envy. Every woman who takes control of her PCOS becomes a lighthouse for others lost in the fog of medical gaslighting. Mothers calling daughters with actual helpful advice instead of just lose weight. Friends sharing recipes instead of diet fads. Social media accounts sharing science instead of snake oil. What victory actually looks like. Victory isn't a size 2 dress or perfect lab results. Victory is trusting your body's signals again. Having energy that lasts past 2 p.m. Periods that don't require a search party. Skin that doesn't look like a battlefield. The quiet confidence of someone who figured out the code. Why this story matters. This isn't just about PCOS. It's about the radical act of women believing they deserve to feel good in their bodies. It's about the revolutionary idea that complex problems don't always need complex solutions, just consistent ones. In a world that profits from women's insecurity about their bodies, taking control of PCOS becomes a quiet act of rebellion. Every woman who refuses to accept that's just how it is becomes part of a larger story about medical justice and bodily autonomy, challenging medical dismissal of women's pain, proving that patients can be partners in their healing, demonstrating that lifestyle medicine isn't alternative, it's foundational. That someday, future 16-year-olds won't sit in sterile offices being told to just wait it out, but will instead be handed a roadmap to reclaiming their bodies and their stories. Because every heroine deserves a better origin story. The most satisfying moment isn't weight loss or perfect lab results. It's the first time you trust your body again.